Well met, adventurers. Before we dive into this episode, we just want to let you know that this is the fifth part of the exploration of Castle Naerytar. This is a very large dungeon with lots of roleplay and combat, so if you're not already caught up, we recommend that you hop back to episode 23 before listening to this one. Okay, with that said, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to Canon Fodder Diecast episode 27.
We're going to begin episode 27 with a state of the game. We're a couple episodes late because we usually do it on the 8th episode, but we forgot. So I have a couple questions to ask you guys to think about, just to share your feelings about where Horde of the Dragon Queen is going. First, do you have any new character questions?
I think the biggest thing is the plot that you and I have to talk about.
Okay, so exploring more of Cezzaria's background.
Yep. And I also have to look more into the cleric
domain.
Domain. Because I thought it was higher level than it actually is. So we gotta look further into that and play with that.
Alright, so that can be done, especially moving forward past Horde. It's going to make a lot of sense to have a useful cleric around. How do you feel about your characters?
I know for my character, I'm thinking about possibly at the end of this campaign switching out to a new one. Although I like playing Korri, I've always been much more of a fan of the Magicasters, so I'm looking forward to building and using a Magicaster coming up.
All right.
I'm really enjoying the direction Leaky's going. Way back to episode 8.5. I was looking at going towards the paladin path, and you and I discussed it. Quickly realized that is not an option.
No,
not without a lot of DM rule bending.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it would break the game.
Yeah, we found a better path.
We did find a better path. Thanks to Xanathars.
Yep, we found a beholder to bend the rules for us.
We did. But so far, I'm really enjoying the way the path Leaky is taking. Which, by the way, should we discuss Leaky's new name now?
Yeah, actually, this would be probably the best time.
Okay.
So you rebuilt Leaky based on the events of episode 26, where you've become a zealot.
Yes. And Leaky is no longer exile of the Golden Tur clan. He is self-proclaimed zealot of the Golden Tur clan. Which the Golden Tur clan has never had a zealot.
What about new mechanics or rule questions that need to be addressed? Do you guys have any questions about mechanics or anything like that?
Not at the moment. We'll let you know.
One of the homebrew rules that I'm going to introduce, if nobody's going to object, is the critical hit, critical failure table that I developed. So if you roll a natural 20 on an attack, you can have a chance. You can choose to roll the d20 again and get a unique special effect that's not just double damage. Conversely, if you agree to using this homebrew rule, if you roll a natural 1, a critical failure, then you roll on the critical failure table. Which is not just, oh, it didn't work, or, oh, you lost a turn. I got kind of sick of that because it was the same thing every time. Oh, you slipped in the mud. There are some unique effects, even on a critical failure, that aren't necessarily a failure, but change the dynamic a little bit. Similar to how we use the warp tokens occasionally.
I'd be okay with it. I think you've shared the critical hit table with me. I don't think you shared the critical fail table with me.
I don't think I have. So.
Knowing you need to look at the critical failure table.
Well, yeah.
You need
these
to
will be made available through our website too. If we're going to use them, we'll make them publicly available because I wrote them for players and for DMs to use.
You need to memorize that table.
Especially if I'm doing a stair check.
Yeah.
Are we going to run into stairs?
Always.
So, my question for you actually going forward with this, is this critical roll and critical fail table only for combat, or is it for all the time?
Only for combat.
Okay.
The DMG and the player's handbook are fairly specific that a natural 20 on an ability check is you succeed. Period. A critical failure is you don't succeed or you succeed with grave consequences. So this is specifically in combat where a natural 20 or a critical failure are... We could just stick to double damage, but I think these present new narrative opportunities. And as we've gotten better at the game, we've also gotten better at role-playing, and so this would help with players that maybe don't narrate so well off the cuff. They could consult the table and have something cool happen. So I kind of view it as a scaffold towards better roleplay.
Fair enough.
I agree.
So you guys cool with at least trying it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I'll publish the rule set when this episode goes live. It'll be a separate article on our website, which is www.canonfodderpodcast.com.
And that's CANON.
Last thing on our state of the game here. Where are you guys hoping to see the story go? We've already discussed which campaign we're going to proceed with next, presuming you survive. Always presuming. But where would you like to see the story go next? Anything that I should know that I can have recorded here so that I don't forget?
My biggest thing is you and I either need to sit down or have a multiple long text conversation about what we've scratched the surface on, but haven't dove headfirst into, and I don't want to say much more than that to give things away.
So more character background for Cezzaria.
Briefly, Leaky kind of has had at least one midlife crisis where...
It's a long life.
Yeah. Well, dwarves do live to be 300 years old.
They live long lives. Lost the hammer, got the hammer.
Got kicked out of his tribe.
Well, got kicked out of his tribe.
That started it all.
Yeah.
Found Tyr.
Found the hammer, lost the hammer, found Tyr, found the hammer. You know, had relatively interesting character builds. Poor Korri her midlife crisis is dealing with Cezzaria and Leaky.
Her midlife crisis is coming up. Her story's not done just because she's moving on.
No,
the character stops.
Her giant midlife crisis right now is dealing with us.
I just haven't done anything about it yet.
I call that more of an ongoing set of cramps.
It's my...
Crisis of conscience?
Maybe. You know, the only part that's really changed... I mean, Cezzaria is starting to change because we changed to evil with Drown. And then back to starting to go more towards good with Tide. But it hasn't been... It's been subtle changes, not a huge change.
Yeah,
like
we need to address
seen.
not just her gear.
Yeah, so...
Alright.
To catch people up with that, or if they haven't noticed those subtle changes, that's where she's kind of heading. Is exploring her more.
I think in episodes 21 and 22, there was a lot of roleplay advancement for Cezzaria, because you screwed up, took an interrogation way too far,
Again.
roped Leaky into it, cost Leaky and you and also Korri a job, and then spent the remainder of the next episode making up for it. So I don't think she's a static character by any means.
No, it's just the change hasn't been as dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been, I wouldn't say dramatic. It hasn't been as explicit.
Yeah.
It's been much more implicit, because you went from a highway bandit who was very lonely.
To Leaky.
To Leaky, which was like having, you went from not quite lonely to you had bad friends.
Are you calling Leaky a bad influence?
At the time. He eventually found religion, cleaned himself up.
You were ripping legs off people and eating them as lollipops.
Yeah.
So, but then now she's moved on to, she's got a people and she's got a place, even if that is deeply strange and maybe a little unnerving to those who have frog prejudice. Her character's developing, so I'm all for that.
I think we just need to go more into her mental and more into her background type.
Yeah.
I would like to point out also that Korri is learning the lesson that hard work never pays.
No.
Because every time that Korri tries really hard at her job, we end up running away before we get paid for it. Korri still has...
You sure you don't want your pay? No, we're good. Sure you don't want your letter of recommendation? No, keep it.
So Korri has earned no money at all in this entire campaign. Thanks.
We've bankrolled you. We've been nice companions. Don't you dab at me.
Travis has rickrolled us.
Travis has rickrolled us.
And I was the gullible one that...
In 21 episodes, can you really tell me you didn't have it coming?
Alright.
You deserved it. You deserved everything that's happened to you.
You know what? Travis is never going to give us up. He's never going to let us down. You started it.
That's why he continues to rattle his chains.
Okay, well, if we don't have anything else we want to add right now, let's get into it. So, we're using a new microphone. We invested in a Yeti with not the Patreon dollars that you gave us. He said not passively, aggressively. If you want to support the Diecast, which is going some really interesting places, we do have a Patreon over at www.patreon.com/CannonFodderPod. But if you'd like to donate $1 a month, that would be very much appreciated so that we can continue to push ourselves to entertain you. Because we've got 4 storytellers sitting here. And I think we've got some interesting stories to tell.
Yep, and that money won't just go to Diecast. It'll also go to our other projects as well.
And those are going. We've got Cannon Fodder Captain's Log is rolling, and we've got another podcast with talking about video games coming up soon in the next couple months. And maybe some more stuff, too, on the horizon. So, are you guys ready to play some Dungeons & Dragons?
Ready, set, roll for initiative.
Alright, so on where you guys left off last time, in episode 26, Leaky had regained his hammer. At long last, it took 22 episodes to get there. The better part, literally, of a year. Cezzaria had tried and failed to use her political/religious leverage to control the bullywugs at Castle Naerytar, and that resulted in a full-scale riot. And Korri looked on with mild horror. The castle, as it is set, is in an uproar. The bullywugs that were stationed there are now fighting the lizard folk who have risen up under Snapjaw to fight them off and kill them, which is what you promised him to do. And
we promised to take care of them, not kill them.
He was pretty sure.
Just because his understanding of the negotiation was flawed doesn't mean it's correct.
I'll allow it. Rezimir is nowhere to be seen, so when Leaky woke up after retrieving his hammer and having his brief heart-to-heart with Tyr, Rezimir was gone, the bullywugs had largely been driven out, and you guys proceeded up the southwestern tower.
Well, except for the dozen that I murdered.
Also that. So you guys climbed the southwestern tower, and then we called it quits for that session, because it was a long session. You guys are rejoining the game right now. With the southwestern tower cleared, but you have not yet proceeded along the western wall and the halls that are there. You have not explored the keep or the northwestern keep, which is where the dungeons are. The dungeons of the castle, not. Well, I don't know what Born Grey gets up to. So, where would you like to go?
Well, first,
you do have a map here. So, you would be moving into Area P if you go directly up out of the southwestern tower. You'd be moving into Area P. You can hear movement coming from in there, but there's also just the keep.
Well, first, Cezzaria, do you have the note that was given to us last session?
Mm-hmm.
That has the password thing on it?
One moment. Going through map pieces.
Strange accent. Where's the pause button? So, go ahead.
Did you actually ask about the message
Yes.
in-game? Okay. I couldn't remember if that was before or after we turned off the mic. Translated, because it was in Draconic, it says, say Drazir at the gate.
So that means I should say Drazir at every opportunity I can.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that makes sense. So there's 2 doors.
Well, I want to go back to the room with the black stripe down the middle of it.
Okay, so that's up the tower. That's on level 3, I think, which were Rezimir's rooms, right?
Yep.
Okay, do you need a refresher on what these rooms look like?
Probably.
Okay, so the specific room that you are talking about is on your maps, if you're keeping up, 3-0. And this chamber is plain. It's just a wooden-walled chamber. And when you close the door, on the door, there is a black stripe painted down the door.
Drazir.
Nothing happens.
Oh, okay. I'm good now. Wherever you guys want to go.
Good try, though.
So do we want to pick another tower, or there's also a dungeon, correct?
Well, there's the whole western halls, right? They're built between the walls. It's not just like a wall space or stuff. The walls are thick and there are things built into them. Then there's the keep.
Let's go through... Sorry. Let's go through the halls, and then we can do the keep in the dungeon.
Okay, so you guys want to move into area 1P then, correct? There's a door from the base of the tower that you're in that goes into 1P, correct?
Sounds good.
Okay. Anybody in particular pushing through?
I suppose I'll take the lead.
Okay, so Leaky pushes through this plain wooden door, and the first thing that you see upon entering what is very obviously the kitchen for the castle is a dwarf wearing a tall white hat and a beard net. And he's bustling back and forth between a chopping board and a simmering cauldron. Tears are streaming down his eyes, and he keeps muttering to himself, "Just through the door, Therm. Just through the door, Therm. You can do it. Just come on, Therm." But he can't seem to break this pattern of going back and forth. He does not acknowledge you.
Said he's muttering Therm?
Therm.
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 It's a fitting name for a cook.
Yes. I didn't make it up.
Also, Leaky, since he's a dwarf, maybe you should talk to him.
Therm, who are you cooking for?
He goes, "I'm cooking for the cultists. Get out of my way."
There are no cultists left.
He goes, "Yes, there are. I just saw them. They're in the other room.
Which room?
The room through here. The big hall. The great hall. Get out of my way." And he pushes past you and he drops some more vegetables into his simmering cauldron.
The castle has erupted into chaos. Why are you still here?
He doesn't have an answer. He just bustles right back and forth. Almost like he didn't hear the idea that he could leave there.
Leaky's gonna be what he thinks is helpful?
Oh no.
Mild, abject fear.
I'm gonna grab a hold of the cauldron and rip it off the stove. So it just spills everywhere.
Oh, why?
So hot, gushing soup spills everywhere, and Therm just starts sobbing. He goes back to his cutting board, and he's just like, "They could have just left me alone. They could have just let me make dinner." He cuts up his vegetables, and he dumps them onto the stock that's now all over the floor. The kitchen smells nice. Therm is a professional.
I have a feeling...
Also, I think you took some damage from burning your hand.
No, I used a hand axe to
Oh, okay.
just
Just
pull.
retcon that in. Yeah.
So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to ask Therm, why were you, are you stuck here?
Therm says that he has been captive for 3 months, and he has to cook dinner. Get out of his way. Get out of my way.
What happens if you don't cook dinner?
They'll kill me, and also the migraines.
What migraines?
The migraines that come if I don't cook. He bustles past you. He's like, "Get out of the way. I have to make dinner."
I think someone has a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome.
Or somebody is being controlled.
That too.
Leaky tried.
He begins chopping leeks.
Is there...
So, can I do an Arcana check?
You can do an Arcana
That's-
check.
what I was aiming for there.
So that would be just a d20 plus whatever your skill
Yeah, I was
is.
just looking at my Arcana rate. So I have a +1 to Arcana.
Therm is bustling back and forth.
I received a 12.
That is enough for you to see that there is definitely some sort of magic going on here.
Okay.
It's wound around him.
Careful shuffling in the chairs, dear.
I'm trying.
I have one other spell. I'm just seeing if it's going to be useful.
Because I think we would need a spell to break, dispel magic, yeah?
You could try with a particularly high Arcana check, or you could try to physically intercede.
Physically intercede?
Yes.
Okay.
You just have no idea what might happen if you do that. Because he's bustling back and forth. It
So-
doesn't matter if the soup has been poured all over the kitchen. He's been spent hours on that soup. And
So I have a spell for that too. I have hold person,
Okay.
which I could do that one. I'm trying to see if aid would be more useful though.
I don't think aid would be useful.
Do we want to try and
Do we
hold
want
him
to hold
with,
him or no?
Do we want to try and hold him with magic or physically hold him?
It's up to you guys. I can go either way.
I mean, I don't want you to exhaust spell slots for something I can probably do with strength.
Okay.
I'm going to do an Arcana check.
What are you attempting to do here?
I got 12 as well.
Nothing more than seeing that the weave is tight around him.
To see if we could tell, like, where it was coming from.
Do we need to do some concussive persuasion?
If he's under a spell, I don't...
I like that phrase.
That's from Chittenango High School right there.
I'm saying, because I don't know...
Alright, I'm going to roll a strength check then.
Okay, what are you doing? Explain what you're doing.
Bear hug him.
Okay.
To try and keep him from bustling
so
back
he's
and
currently trying to chop carrots as fast as he can to go throw them on the floor because somebody ruined his dinner.
forth.
Maybe if we just kill the cultist...
That is an 18.
That is enough to bear hug him, but he immediately starts going, "Let me go! I gotta cook dinner!" And he starts flashing with the knife and he tries to cut you in the leg. He rolled a 4.
That does not cut me in the leg.
That's a thick kilt you got on. He's squirming and fighting and like freaking out, panicking. Because you're compelling him to not cook dinner. He's like, I have to, or else the migraines.
Okay, I can't do anything else. I'm doing my part, I guess.
I don't think I have...
Say uncle, you midget. Who you call midget?
So,
Dwarves.
I guess I could do a religion check to try to I will pray over him with using tear to try to dispel magic.
Remove curse.
I do not.
Or what
I have
spells
bless
do you have?
and cure wounds.
I have for spells Bane, Hunter's Mask, Bless, Searing Smite, Shield of Faith, Thunderous Smite, Hold Person, Misty Step, Branding Smite, Aid, and Magic Weapon.
Just for giggles, let me check the robe spot, but I doubt it.
You might.
I could try Arcana-ing it.
You could try to Arcana it to sever it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do that.
So Korri is going to try to make an Arcana check to sever the spell using what she can see. It's kind of a narrow chance. It's tough, but you could do it.
Okay. I got a 17.
That's it? Just 17 flat?
17 flat.
Okay. Alright. I have it set here that it was a 16 check. So you are able to sever the spell and he just collapses on the kitchen floor.
No, he doesn't.
No, Leaky's holding him. Into Leaky's arms.
He collapses into Leaky's arms and drops the knife, which did not manage to cut through that thick worsted wool of the kilt. And he just starts sobbing. He's like, it's been 3 months and I have to cook every meal with just those 2 stupid humans.
Sorry?
How do you comfort the dwarf, Leaky?
You don't
comfort the dwarf.
Well, that's why your people are so hard.
Yes? We have to be to live in the mountains.
It's like, I'm not from the mountains. I'm from Waterdeep, and I used to be a chef.
And Korri,
I don't even know where I am.
Based on past experiences, believes that going over, patting him on the head and saying, there, will help.
It just makes him cry harder.
Korri, you don't comfort the dwarf!
Therm, it's okay. You're free now. You can return to Waterdeep and go become a chef again. If you so choose.
I don't think I have a job. They took me in the middle of cooking and I left it a wreck.
So, I'm going to say...
Your shoulder's not soft.
I'm going to say, Therm, why don't you stay here for a little while? We'll come back and get you on our way out.
On your way out? Who even are you?
We're mighty adventurers!
Oh, God.
Oh, no. You don't tip. They never tip.
Wonderful.
I give him a gold piece.
That's more money than has been paid in months, to be fair.
Does it change his persona at all? Or change his,
He's just quietly sobbing because this has been a traumatic experience for what used to be a wunderkind of the Waterdeep, the Waterdavian culinary scene. You guys have any questions for him now that you've broken the spell?
What humans have you been working with?
there were 2 other slaves that were with him, but they ran because they weren't under the same spell. So when all hell broke loose, whenever that big explosion was outside, he couldn't see it. There's no windows in the kitchen, but all of a sudden they were able to run, and he was stuck here making the stupid soup all on his own, which isn't that normal. That's not that different than most nights, if we're being completely honest.
So, Therm, who put this spell on you?
He says that half-black dragon, haven't seen her in a while.
And you said that there are cultists in the next room?
Yeah, it's the Great Hall. It's where all the treasure piled. And they don't tip either. And I know they have the money, because there's piles of gold.
How many are there?
I don't know. He doesn't know. There's
How
at
much
least
gold
3
is there?
dragon claws left.
So, Therm, since they don't
Lot of
know that
gold.
you're not under a spell anymore, could you just pop your head out there and see how many people are in there?
No, because he's still cooking and he can't leave the kitchen until he's done cooking. So,
Well...
and dinner's got to be ready exactly at 4th sand.
Hey, Therm, do you got any livery kicking around?
Livery?
That's what you call the butler garb.
No, he's a
Livery.
cook. They
Livery.
lock
Livery?
him.
Livery?
Livery.
Livery. Okay. I was
They
close.
lock him on the 2nd floor every night. These are the clothes he has. These are washed by the sweat of his body every day. That's it. Therm smells, but
His food smells good.
yes, it covers up the rain.
Therm, I hate to tell you that I don't think dinner's going to be ready by 3rd sand or 4th sand.
He's
It's
like, good.
kind of all over the floor.
Screw dinner. He kicks the cauldron. Like, I didn't want to make that stew anyway. I make that stew like 3 times a night. I'm sick of it. I just want to make puff pastries.
Therm,
Why don't you stay here and make puff pastries for us?
He picks up his knife. He's like, no, I want vengeance.
So, are we taking Therm along?
Sure.
I don't think we're going to have a choice.
All right, Therm's in the party.
Therm's ready to fight.
We have an NPC that we're going to have to carry.
Oh well.
Possibly literally.
Or he's just gonna die.
I thought you didn't throw the dwarves.
Do you guys have any other questions for him? About...
You don't throw the dwarf, but you can carry the dwarf. We proved that in the swamp.
This is true. Do you guys have any other questions for him about what's going on at Naerytar? He's an information point.
What based on the schedule that you know of, what usually happens around this time of day?
The Dragon Claws come in and they start drinking, and if Rezimir is back from Parnast, then she's there with Borngrey, and the Bullywugs are usually getting fed the slops.
Is there any other? Do you know any other parts of the castle? What are you usually confined to the kitchen and
He
your
doesn't
rooms?
leave the kitchen.
Okay.
Where's Parnast?
He's not sure. It's wherever Rezimir is coming from.
Interesting.
Okay, he's gonna be with us though too. If we need to ask him questions, correct?
As long as we don't let him die.
As long as he doesn't die.
As long as he doesn't die, and also I'm not sure if he's really a combatant or not. So that's up to you, not me. Thermal died as he lived, chopping vegetables. Bring on the pygmies.
Mushroom people?
That's the myconoids. So are you ready to move on, or what do you want to do here?
I think we're moving on.
I think we're ready to move on because somebody wants vengeance.
VEGEVENGEANCE. Okay, so there's another door that leads through here deeper into the western hall, I guess. The Great Hall.
Before we go through the door, I asked Therm if this is the door he was talking about that they're in.
Yes, outside there, that's where they keep the treasure and they store the treasure. It's where they eat dinner every night. It's where he was forced to serve them.
I suppose it's time for us to ready an attack.
Sure. Why are you staring at me?
Yeah. Jen's looking at her sheet.
You guys are just gently insulting Leaky. Just try to get him into a rage. Your hair's too long.
I'm
You've
going
bathed in forever.
to ready.
Thank you.
You smell like a rust monster's anus.
I'm going to ready my crossbow.
Okay, so you're readying to fire as soon as they kick the door open, basically?
If there are cultists in the door, yeah.
Okay, good.
I
That's
guess-
nice and specific, so we don't have like a police academy moment where she blows apart the civilians.
I guess I'm the one that's going to be kicking the door open?
Tank,
Are
tank,
we
tank,
kicking
tank,
the
tank,
door
tank.
open?
Do we need to kick the door open?
How about you just open the door and we see what happens?
Because, I mean, Therm is supposed to be able to get into this room. So if it is locked, Therm should have a key.
Yeah, but I don't want him going first because then...
Yeah.
The door is not locked.
Okay.
Leaky, open the door.
Leaky opens the door.
So the hall beyond is a 60-foot long, 3-story high, and narrow chamber. You see long benches and tables that stretch along that 60-foot space, and they're heaped with treasure and gold, and a bunch of other iron and steel valuables that haven't been sorted yet. On the very far end, though, there are 5 cultists frantically packing treasure into sacks, and there are 4 dragon claws with the dragon helmets watching over them. And as soon as you guys kick the door open...
I didn't kick the door open. I opened the door.
As soon as you open the door, because they're keeping an eye out for you, they immediately start to order the cultists into the dungeons, pointing at the door behind them. And they say, "Go, go! Jose is waiting for you at the portal!" And the cultists shuffle out. And the dragon claws start moving towards you. So, at this point, Cezzaria has a readied arrow. Roll for initiative.
Apparently they were surprised, but not that surprised.
You have a long way to go. Alright, give me your numbers.
14.
14.
23.
23.
15.
Okay, so it's Cezzaria, Korri, Leaky, and then the dragon claws. Alright, so Cezzaria, you had a readied action, so you can take that immediately before your first turn here.
Yep. I'm going to shoot at... I'm assuming it was a dragon claw that was speaking.
Yeah.
That was yelling, run.
Yep, there are 4 dragon claws.
Okay. Sure. Where's my D10? There it is.
Yep. Armor class 14.
18.
Is it hit?
For a whopping 7 damage.
Alright. So 7, so he takes an arrow, and that makes it your turn again, because you had that readied action from before. Which is technically its own round. So, firing another arrow at the same dude?
Yep.
Are you firing your glowy deer arrows?
The first one was the crossbow.
Alright.
So I figured I'll keep using that because I figured it'd be easier to hold the crossbow. Like, lock the crossbow in.
Whip.
You said DC of 14?
Yep.
Just 14.
Okay, so that's a hit.
For 13 damage.
Oh, wow. Okay, he drops. You killed him.
Woo!
Alright. The other ones are still progressing, but that makes it Korri's turn.
How far away are they?
They are 50 feet away.
50 feet?
Yeah, they're progressing slowly.
Don't you have javelins? That I believe I've retrieved for you like 3 or 4 times?
I've given people tails. So I'm going to go my 30 feet and throw my javelin.
Okay, so you're closing the gap up to 20, which will put you in attack range of them on their turn if any of them are left.
So that would be a 27.
That's a hit.
And then for 7 damage.
Alright.
I technically have a second attack, but since I only have 1 javelin, that's the end of mine.
Okay, so it hits him. You care to narrate it, or?
Is he still alive?
Yes.
As I throw it, I see it waver slightly in the air, and then it comes down into his shoulder.
He grunts. He's like, "Ugh! Should have put me armor pads on there."
I used to be a hero like you, and then I took a javelin to the shoulder.
Leaky? 3 are left. They're 50 feet away from you.
Leaky doesn't even have to move.
I know.
Hold on, because now, like Cezzaria, I get a fistful of die.
My fistful's bigger.
That's a 15.
That's a hit.
For
which one? Are you hitting one that she put a javelin into, or?
No, a different one.
Oh, okay.
22 damage?
That one's dead. Do you care to narrate what you've done?
I throw the Hammer of the Gods, and as it connects, the power of Tyr connects with him.
He was not ready for a change of religion. The shock killed him.
And now for the next one.
If only we had a wizard that could see the soul literally punched out of that guy's body.
The real question is the shock from the blood loss or is the shock from Tyr?
That's a 21.
That's a hit.
For 11. 19 damage.
That's a murdering blow. Goodbye, Dragon Claw.
The hammer goes straight through his skull.
So that's...
Splash.
There's 1 dragon claw left?
One left?
With a javelin in his shoulder, and he rips it out of his shoulder, and he hauls back and he throws it back at Korri. And he goes, catch! What is the damage on a javelin?
1d6 plus 5.
He rolled a 7?
No.
Okay. So it sails
So I catch
short.
it.
Oh, boy. Long reach. All right.
She does have long arms.
Caught your javelin. That makes it Cezzaria's turn. He's just standing there bleeding from his shoulder between these gigantic piles of treasures.
I say, hey, thanks, sir.
Problem. Leave me a 5-star review.
This isn't Yelp.
But it could
be. It's going to miss him. 12.
Just shy.
Yep. That would have been for 15 damage.
Alas. Alright, that makes it Korri's turn. Korri's holding her javelin.
He just gave back to her.
I feel like narratively I have to throw the javelin again, even though I can get close enough to swing at him.
Well, you do have 2 attacks.
That's true.
You could throw the javelin, move, and then attack.
Yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to throw the javelin back first.
Okay, you're throwing a javelin.
I yell, up high.
He looks up.
And I swing for 22.
That's a hit.
And I do 8 damage.
That is not quite a killing blow, but it's definitely nearly lethal.
And this time, it hits in the other shoulder.
Like, oh! Should have seen that coming. All right.
Well, he was looking at the ceiling.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Keep your eye on the javelin, buddy. You have your movement and your melee attack now.
So I'm going to move, and then I'm going to melee. I'm going to hit with my my longsword, or greatsword.
Oh, boy.
Rather.
Uh-oh.
He's like, Tiamat will kill you.
Yeah.
She will rise. You'll be punished.
I critically failed.
We have a critical failure table. We're going to
Yeah.
consult it. You got to roll a d20. So Korri rushes up along these benches of treasure and critically misses at an opportune moment.
I critically failed on a critical fail.
What did you get?
A whiff. For all your planning, the action flubs, and you fail. Try harder.
Not a good way to debut the critical fail table.
I know, I got a critical fail.
Whiff! That makes it Leaky's turn.
Okay, Leaky's gonna throw the hammer.
Of course you'd critically fail twice in a row. Why wouldn't you?
That's a 22.
That's a hit. It's a killing blow. Don't do the math. Save the neurons.
16.
It's a killing blow.
I don't care. I wanted to do the math.
Doubled his health and murdered him.
Okay, it hits him in the chest plate and he just kind of explodes.
I mean...
Actually, this was the first hit of the turn, so technically I should have rolled my d6 too for the smite damage. Oh, wait, I'm not raging.
You're not raging.
No.
He had no blood left.
That's true.
Blood be gone. Doop, doop, doop.
Well, that's the end of combat. This leaves the hall almost entirely silent except for a scuffle of metal and feet and the upraised voices coming from the room beyond that you can now hear since you're no longer fighting. And the room past.
Hey, Korri, you
Yeah.
were complaining about not getting paid?
Do I get to keep all of it?
Not
Split
all of it, but...
I think that actually at this point, once again, hard work doesn't pay. We should probably get the cultists first.
Somebody's screaming bloody murder now beyond the wall on the other side.
Like, literally screaming the words bloody murder, or...
They don't have that much cogence. All you hear is just, oh no, the lizards found us! No, get back! No!
We should probably go investigate that.
And once again, hard work never pays.
Well, you can
We'll
always
come
run
back.
by and just, like, scoop it up and shove it in
I
your
just
pockets.
critically failed twice
True.
in a row.
Can I run by and scoop a handful into my pocket?
Why don't you deal with this problem and then come back?
Okay.
Okay. Where do you want to go here? You're pushing past the Great Hall and all of these great piles of treasure and Korri's payday?
2 cultists!
Okay, so you're chasing
We'll
them
come
basically
back.
through the wall.
There's too
that you
many
just
good
came
things here.
Yeah.
That brings us on to Area 1R. And 1R is flooded with swamp water that's seeping through the cracks in the foundation here. It's inches deep. It stinks in here really bad, like mold. Black mold. Okay, so what is your plan moving through this door? You can hear people crying on the other side, like yelling out in pain. And you can also hear the clang of metal and fighting.
So we're going to go investigate that.
I'm going to bust through the door.
Going that route, I guess.
Okay. So Leaky is busting through the doors, I gather.
Korri's readying an attack.
So you bust into a roughly circular room where there is a set of stairs that are cutting down into the ground below it. There's also another set that goes up above. But what really captures your attention are the squadron of lizardmen currently hacking to pieces the last remains of those cultists that fled from you and beginning to pick through their bodies.
Snapjaw?
He stands up and is like, "Where'd you come from?
Places?
The kitchen area?
Did you kill them all in there?
Yes. There is nothing living left in there.
Good job.
Well, except for the cook.
He's with us, though.
Is he a bullywug?
No.
No.
Oh, I
He's a
don't care.
dwarf.
We could kill him and eat him." And they're like, "Sss."
No, we don't eat dwarves.
He squints at you dubiously, but he does not roll very high in an insight check. Snapjaw knows that his slice of the world is quite narrow.
Do you know how many other cultists are left?
He says that they all went down into the dungeons. They slithered down into the dungeons with the bullywugs. He tells you that they've pushed the other ones out of the castle for the most part. Those that got separated from Fireblacks have fled. Unless they were with Fireblacks, in which case they went down to the dungeons.
So should we have them send some lizard folk to go stand guard to make sure nothing else comes back into the castle?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
So send some lizard folk towards the doors so we don't have any cultists re-entering the castle.
Through the main gate?
Yeah.
I assume they're not coming the way that you guys came.
Probably not.
Although, just to be safe, should have one person stand near that door.
Okay, so he agrees and he dispatches some of his troopers to spread the word that they should lock it down. He's like, "What are you going to do with the castle?"
Is it ours?
"By right of conquest."
Yay?
So,
You're not going to give it to the bullywugs, are you?
We haven't decided yet.
You said you'd kill them,
No, we said we'd get rid of them.
which is killing.
No.
It's an infestation.
No.
Yes.
I pat Snapjaw on the head.
I roll a natural 20 on an intimidation check.
He is frightened before you. He sees the one-handed god standing behind you. He's like, "They can't come back. Who's going to rule the castle when you're gone?"
We haven't decided yet.
Do you guys have a place to go?
He says, "We'll go back to VEGEVENGEANCE and we'll serve our black god. We don't want the castle. Neither does the dragon. But the bullywugs can't have it.
Well, if you don't want it, why do you care if the bullywogs have it?
Because they're disgusting."
If we asked you to stay, would you?
"Why?
To man the castle for us.
For how long? We must return to VEGEVENGEANCE.
What about setting up a new branch out here? Of your people.
The dragon will not deal with you."
We will discuss this later.
Okay. They're willing to keep the bullywugs out.
And the cultists.
Them too, yeah. Screw them. They're all in the dungeons, though. They went down with Rezimir and that skinny elf with no meat on his bones.
Okay,
Born
let's
cry?
let's rephrase. No one new enters the castle. For
Right.
now.
Okay. They blink one eye and then the other.
All right. And
I
what do we
blink one eye and then the other back at them.
So it sounds like we are getting pushed towards going towards the cultists in the basement.
Yep.
You could. I'm just wondering.
Can we go back and...
From a narrative, if I was the audience member familiar with Snapjaw, does he understand what new people are?
So I would say don't let anyone in that's not a lizard folk.
Okay.
Does he get that?
He gets that.
Okay. Because lizard folk are okay.
Okay.
What about the dwarf? The dwarf in the kitchen? It's so
Leave-
convenient. It's like fast
Leave
food.
the dwarf in the kitchen.
Leave him in the kitchen?
Leave him alone.
Alive.
He's with us.
I thought he came with us.
He came with us.
Did he?
Yes.
Is he still with us?
You guys
Yes.
busted through that room and just kept running. Therm's like holding his little like fork and knife and he's like, "Treasure!"
Sure. Okay.
Do you want to leave Therm behind or?
It'd probably be better if we did.
Yeah.
Therm
So-
was not prepared for the level of adventuring that happened in the next room.
Do not hurt Therm.
The dwarf in the kitchen. So we're 100% clear. Don't hurt the dwarf in the kitchen.
Okay.
Or the dwarf in the Great Hall.
And kill the bullywugs that come into the castle.
No. Don't let the bullywogs into the castle. You don't have to kill them. Just don't let them in.
But what if they get in?
Then yeah.
Alright! Rock on!
And don't intentionally let them in the castle so that you can just kill them.
One of them's like... It's like... He says, how did you know what we were going to do? No more open door policy, guys. Okay. So you guys, you're just going to leave them up here, though? Do you want to check the treasure room out before you descend? Do you want to go to the keep? Remember, there's that keep in the middle.
We should probably check the keep out first before
Do treasure room, keep, and then dungeon.
Okay, they're going to stand here, and they're going to man this door, because they're not letting anybody come up from the dungeons. As far as they're concerned, they're locked down there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other way out of the dungeons other than this door?
Not that he knows.
Okay.
To the treasure room!
So part of this, though, is the treasure room. If this is going to be our castle, all the treasure in it should also be ours. So I don't know how much time we actually have to spend in here.
Do you want to know what's in it?
Sure.
Okay. I did this math out to fit a particular hoard, or appropriate hoard for you guys. So in this room, there are 400 gold pieces, 600 silver pieces, 80 platinum pieces. There are also 22 semi-precious stones, which I could tell you the total value of those if you wanted, but it's a small fortune. And there's a greater potion of healing. And since you kind of do, how much time do you want to spend searching? I can provide more details if you want to spend more than like 10 minutes here.
I think we probably should keep moving.
Yeah. Why doesn't Korri take the stones? Since...
I think we should also grab the potion of healing.
Yep.
Because we might need it.
Yep.
Okay, anything else you guys want to do? Like run a quick investigation search? Like root through? Because a lot of this is steel, high quality steel arms that could be used to support a militia.
Okay.
Or
I'm gonna
staff
do
and armory.
An investigation check
Uh-oh.
to see if I can find any type of gear that would suit Leaky.
Okay.
That is an 18.
An 18 is enough to find a hand axe with a rope threaded through the handle.
Threaded through the handle?
Yeah.
So you throw it and it'll come back, kind of.
I guess you
You
could
can
do
pull
with
it
that.
back.
You could pull it back. It's up to you how you use the gear, man. Not me. So some sort of like thrown axe with a rope in the handle.
Okay.
Or
Alright. Anybody
it's
else
a
want to roll a
mace
quick
axe.
investigation? Huh?
Or it's a mace axe. Alright, I'll roll an investigation check.
Okay.
So there was 600 silver, 400 gold.
400 gold.
And we'll,
And 80 gold. 80 platinum pieces.
we'll divide it up later.
I got an 11.
An 11 is enough to find that there's a small stack of papers over in the side. These are scrolls of some sort. Do you want to investigate it farther or leave it?
We'll leave it for now.
Anybody else?
My character's not a spellsy person.
I will in 1 second.
Well, scrolls can be used by...
And I just wrote the gems for Korri. And are you taking the healing potion?
Sure, I'll grab the healing potion.
Reasonable. Jenn can touch herself. Leaky's got unlimited hit points. Korri's vulnerable in here. Unless there's anything that eats their skin.
I hope there's not another blob.
Oh, cricky. I really hope not. Anyway, 12.
12 is enough to find a bunch of racks of high-quality steel arrowheads.
Ooh, okay.
So,
Does she get any bonus for using those?
she's already using the magic ones.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it'd be better.
No, but I could sell them.
You could. You want to carry them around, or you want to leave them here and stock your armory?
No, I'll leave them there.
Okay.
Alright.
It's important, though, if it ever gets sieged. You know, you've got quality, ranged munitions. Okay, cool. Where do you want to go? The lizard folk are going to guard that staircase down in the dungeons. You've got the keep as well, which is out in area D and C.
Keep.
Okay, before we get ourselves into too much trouble trying to clear this keep, we're going to cut the episode right there. Thank you for joining us on this weekly installment of the Naerytar Incident subplot. If you're enjoying this weekly release schedule, let us know. We're open to hearing from you. And we hope that you join us next time for episode 28.
Thank you for listening. I am Travis, Master of Chains and Dungeons.
I am Kyle. I play Leaky, Zealot of the Golden Tur clan.
I am Jenn. I play Cezzaria, the Rogue Cleric.
And I'm Lindsey, and I play Korri Gothicanathi, the Goliath Paladin.
Thank you for listening.
Bye!
The Canon Fodder Diecast is a D&D 5e actual play podcast. The intro and outro tracks are composed by Kevin MacLeod and used within their Creative Commons licenses. For more info, visit www.canonfodderpodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at CanonFodderPod, and that's CANON. If you like what we're doing, please leave a review on iTunes, or consider supporting us on the Canon Fodder Podcast Patreon page. And thank you for listening.